One survival bow that is not really so much a bow that I like to kind of bring up. It's made out of PVC, but it also can be made out of just any kind of slingshot. It's a slingshot bow. Essentially, it works off of the premise of just like a slingshot. You're going to draw back, and instead of having a ball bearing in there, you have an arrow nock, and then sometimes if you're using like a makeshift one from like a pre-bought slingshot, you can get a whisker biscuit from a compound bow, and then go ahead and zip tie it to the slingshot. And what that will do is that will hold the arrow perfectly in center as you draw back. So here's one iteration of a slingshot bow that I made. This was just for fun, just to see if it could make it. And as you can see, what I did is I took a PVC pipe and I cut straight down the middle, and that gave me two half sections, and then I heated it, and as it got heated, it became very limp and moldable, and I just went ahead and pulled it down and held it into this kind of U shape right there until it was cooled down. Now I just did this with my hands over an open flame. If you're doing this, you might want to wear gloves because the plastic can get very hot and can burn you. If you're using an open flame, you want to make sure you keep the plastic high enough away from it so it doesn't burn. But as you can see, it's just a very basic bow. Now I've weighed this out. It's equivalent to a 35, I want to say, pounds, because it didn't really sit right on 35, but it's pretty good. Accuracy is very good. I was able to hit targets from about 30 yards away, pretty nice. It went straight through the target, so it does have power. The other great thing about this is it's very small. It's compact. It has a hollow handle, so if I wanted to, I could have extra surgical tubing, extra paracord, supplies stuck up into that tube, seal it off, and still use the bow as I go. So if this strap snaps on me, I have a replacement ready to go in the handle. The way I attached the cord here was I have a piece of paracord, and I knotted it on one side, so that way it was stuck into the bow part of the handle. And then on the other side, I stuck another knot. I put a knot on the end of the paracord, and then I shoved the paracord down the surgical tubing, and then zip tied it. So now, no matter how much I pull, that knot can't come out there, and that secures it in. And then I do the same thing to create my knock point for my arrow. I take a piece of paracord with a knot at two ends, stick it into each end of the surgical tube, and zip tie it. And what that allows me to do is then come over here and use that. If you're using store-bought arrows and you're using paracord on your survival bows or whatever, you want to make sure you kind of heat the tip of the knock and spread it a little bit so it fits over there, because I found that store-bought ones are a little too tight on the paracord, and sometimes they can get caught up, or they can actually start to kind of rub away at the paracord. So when you're making these survival bows, you really want to make sure that your knock is a good enough size to fit over the paracord that you're using.